Time for Sportsocracy A-plus 7-round mock drafts with at ESPN Draft Nerd, Flostradamus, Jeremy Greene. Arizona Cardinals up first.
7 rounds of commercial-free mock draft.
So in this scenario, the Arizona Cardinals, of course, in the actual draft, they have the number 3 overall pick. However, A-plus, best possible scenario, they can trade out of that 3 spot.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to trade out with somebody because I fully believe Will Anderson's going at 2. And then you just bail out because yes, they could take Jalen Carter. It's a little rich for me at 3. I think they would target a corner because there are 3 that I think belong in the top 10. And so in this, they trade out with Tennessee. They drop down to 11. They get the 41st pick in this draft, a 2024 first-round pick, and they give up 3. There could be a little extra compensation there. I don't think Tennessee's going to be greatly inclined to do that, and I don't know that you have a lot of trade partners. So here they get the extra first. Next year, they get a 2, and they drop down to number 11, and they take a player that I'm pretty fond of.
All right, so with the number 11 pick in the 2023 NFL Draft,
Devin Witherspoon, cornerback out of Illinois.
I was going to do the whole Roger Goodell thing, and you stepped on me.
I did. I'm sorry. That's what I do. Look, this is a kid that, as time has gone on, I feel like people are starting to figure out that he is every bit as good as I have said he is. There was a separation between him, Christian Gonzalez, and Joey Porter. I don't necessarily think that's the case anymore. Vegas seems to think there's a possibility that he's the first corner off the board. I struggle with that because he is a little thin. He's super sticky in coverage. No motor issues with him whatsoever. Really good in press. I think he comes in immediately and is a true number 1 corner in the NFL. Now, you might face some growing pains, which Sauce Gardner and Tariq Woolen are not the average of how corners come into this league. But if you look at Arizona, corner is, to me, the biggest need on this team.
Agreed.
And I addressed that early on with a guy that, my biggest knock on him is he's a little thin. He's a little thin, and he doesn't always play quite as fast as he ran. But he's a dog. I love this kid, and he was on a bad defense, too.
All right, second biggest need might be at the edge rusher spot. So how about the second round, pick number 34 overall?
And this is something you will find with the 7-round mock draft. I really lean on guys that you've had in the building. And that is why you select B.J. Ojulari, edge rusher out of LSU. You got to see his brother up close and personal, Aziz, who now plays for the New York Giants.
I did, and I think B.J.'s actually a better athlete.
I think he's a better player, period. It's just he does one thing. He is a see ball, get ball edge rusher. Now, is he a liability against the run? No. 248 pounds, 6'2". He can hold up in the modern NFL, especially with what I think Jonathan Gannon's going to try to do in Arizona, much like he did in Philadelphia. You're going to have a lot of pieces. I look at Ojulari, and I'm drawing a direct comparison. I see him as a poor man's Hassan Reddick, where he is so good against the pass, and he holds up against the run, and then 3 or 4 years from now we look at it and go, why did we have questions about him being a 3-down guy? He's fine. I like this kid a lot, and I think he's going to go higher than people think.
All right, the second pick that they got from the Tennessee Titans comes at number 41.
This is a player that if Arizona took him, our live draft coverage, because we will cover every pick of the 2023 NFL Draft completely live, John Michael Schmitz, the center out of Minnesota.
Oh, Jeremy will be cussing.
I might cry because I absolutely love this kid. It's one of the highest graded centers I've ever had. I think center is a huge need for Arizona, especially if you're going to be missing Kyler Murray for the first half of the year. The center is who coordinates the offensive line. And this kid is really smart. He is a bulldog in the run game. We talk about Osiris Torrance and how good he is. I don't feel like we've given the flowers to John Michael Schmitz because he's not quite as good as that, but he's pretty damn close.
Mm-hmm.
And there's really not a lot of weakness to him. I mean, there are certain kinds of Calais Campbell type pass rushers that might be able to get into his body early on, but I mean, this was a 3-star recruit that grew into the best center in America. He's just a blue-collar kid, and I think he would be perfect for the Cardinals. Now, a little old. He is 24 years old. But not a quarterback, so I don't really care.
The Cardinals have 2 picks in the 3rd round, the first at the top of the round at number 66.
And this is a kid that Arizona had a private meeting with at the Combine. I think it'd be a perfect fit in the middle of this defense. It's Gervon Dexter, the defensive tackle out of Florida. He is not Jordan Davis. I've heard that a few times, that he's just this big 6'6", 310 run clogger. No, there's more raw to him than I would really like. He also didn't play as much as I would like. But, man, you see that raw on tape, and you just, if this kid, if he gets into the right system that can really take advantage of the fact that he can do damn near anything. He can be a nose in a 3-4. I think he can be that he can play D-tackle in a 4-3. I'm not sure he can't play on the outside of the 3-man front in a 3-4. That's how athletic he is. I just would like to see more consistency as a pass rusher. That's why he falls down to this point. But, I mean, especially in this draft, you're not catching a lot of true defensive tackles that are elite pass rushers, and if they are, they're awful against the run.
Number 96.
Well, I did this before I found out Buda Baker had deleted Arizona off his Twitter. Stop doing that, okay? Just, if you got a problem, say it. Don't just passive-aggressively do it on Twitter so we have to figure out what you're doing. Jamie Robinson, the safety out of Florida State. This is a bad safety class. And I can tell you, as a lifelong Florida State fan, I never had any issues with this kid. Hyper competitive, really good tackler, and holds up in coverage. He's a box safety. I think that's where he projects best in the NFL. I feel like he's been banged on for a really bad coverage lapse he had in the Senior Bowl. It's not really what he did. And he was playing 40-yard deep safety as a box guy. He was trying to show that he could do it, and then inadvertently gave people some pause for the cause.
Right.
He can play deep in coverage, just not necessarily what he was being asked to do there. The testing was not great. He ran a 4.59 at 5'11", $190. So yeah, he ran slow. He does not play slow.
105 in the 4th round.
Charlie Jones, wide receiver out of Purdue. This is a player that Arizona's had in the building. They had a top 30 visit. He was a transfer from Iowa, and he's just a hell of a competitor. He's got some of the best hands in this class. Now, is he overly athletic? No, and I don't care that he ran a 4.43. This is a stereotypical slot receiver in the NFL. I know Arizona really likes him because of the hands, and I think he could actually grow into more of an all-around receiver in the NFL. He was just the guy at Purdue. I need 7 yards. He'll go get me 8. He is a possession guy. He's the exact opposite of Jamie Robinson. He ran faster than he plays. Jamie Robinson plays faster than he ran. And I think he would come in, probably comes in as your 4 to begin with, 3 if you move DeAndre Hopkins. But as time goes on, he's just going to be that safety blanket. It's almost like a slot tight end. I know I can trust this guy. He may never burn you deep. And he showed he could do some of that, but it was in the Big Ten.
How does this change real quick? If they move DeAndre Hopkins, do the picks change for you then?
No.
Do they prioritize wide receiver earlier?
No, they don't for me.
Okay.
I guess you still have Hollywood Brown. You still have Rondell Moore. Now it would be I'm actually mentally assuming that they are moving off DeAndre Hopkins. This is about the area I would be trying to add one of those guys.
Okay. In the 5th round, 168 overall.
This guy has a real big appetite. Nick Saldiveri.
The buffet buster.
He is the buffet buster. If you haven't heard the story, there was I can't remember, the big boy offensive line competition or something like that. All you can eat buffet. This dude gained 9.5 pounds. And it really lends itself to what I have seen of him. 6'6", 320. He is a Brian Haynes style hogamolly. Now, the question is, what position does he play? Played tackle at Old Dominion. I think worst case scenario, he starts at guard and then ultimately slides out to the right side. He's just a damn good football player. Level of competition is a thing. I really like the technique. He just seems better when he's pushing forward than as a setback protector. That makes me a little nervous for guys. That's one of the things I look for of, are you going to play tackle or are you going to play guard? Because if you're a push forward kind of guy, I know worst case scenario, I can slot you in at guard.
Mm-hmm.
He would have to work on the technique to be able to set back and be a true pass pro kind of guy.
6th round, 180.
One of the more popular players, Arizona was really interested in him at his pro day. They've had some meetings. He did not get a top 30 visit with them. Carrington Valentine, the cornerback out of Kentucky. Now, you want to talk about raw as hell. This kid's raw as hell, which is weird because he played a good amount. I just don't know that Mark Stoops got the most out of him. He's a good enough tackler. He's pretty good in coverage. I want to see him in man. This will be a developmental prospect because you're going to have to teach him to play zone. Not going to be great for you against the run, but he is a legit cover guy, and he's got the height, weight, speed. That's what you start looking for in the 6th round, is a guy that has all of the things I can't teach you. I can't teach you to be 6 foot with long arms and run a 4.38.
Mm-hmm.
Carrington Valentine does all that. He immediately comes in, contributes on special teams, and if you're patient, 2 years from now, you might have a real value on your hands.
All right, final pick of the draft for the Arizona Cardinals comes in the 7th round at 213.
Cameron Peoples, the running back out of Appalachian State. We are affiliates of the North Carolina Tar Heels. We're right down the road from Appalachian State, so I know this kid pretty well. Did not run well, 4'6", but he's 6'1", 220 pounds. This is I love him also in the Chargers, what I always talk about the Austin Eckler of, I don't really have a guy that can run between the tackles.
Mm-hmm.
If you're new and you've never seen us before, you'll learn that James Conner did something to me in a past life. I'm not real sure what it was,
Hate him.
but I really don't like him. Not as a person. I'm sure he's a great guy. His game drives me nuts. Cameron Peoples is what you're told James Conner is. Conner's hurt all the time. Not a great pass catcher. I mean, he can do it, but Cameron Peoples not going to be your receiving back. He's hey, I need 2 yards. Cool. I'll go get you 2 yards and 4 inches.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to bludgeon people as I do it. The funny thing for me was at Appalachian State, if you go back and watch the tape against Texas A&M, they knew he was coming and still couldn't stop him. All of that talent that Texas A&M had, didn't matter. He's a developmental piece, and I'm not sure he's ever going to be a 3-down back. He's a piece of a rotation early. Hope you strike lightning in a bottle. And this is a kid that I know that Arizona's interested in. They talked to him, I can't remember if it was at the Combine or at his pro days, one or the other. If you like these picks, if you hate these picks, if you just want to call me a big mulleted dipshit, feel free to do that in the comments. We will have one more 7-round mock draft, and that will be you don't see the same player twice. This is the A+. I feel like Arizona would walk away from this absolutely thrilled to death. They have touched every individual need that they had. Some of them are with developmental pieces. I get 2 corners. That ultimately could be your 2. 3 years from now, that could be your 2 starting corners. And you add an edge, and you add a long-time starting center, and you add a middle piece to your defense. That's one of those that on May 1st, this big fat mulleted dipshit would be going, winner of the draft, Arizona Cardinals.
Be sure to like the video, share it out with your friends as well, and subscribe to the channel for all your Draftmas season content. And yes, we will be live in the Angles studio on draft night. Well, actually, all 3 days of the NFL draft. Every pick covered live right here with us. We will see you then.